another Whispers and Warning episode. As always, the foundation of each story is real and the chills you feel are fake. Or is it the other way around? You tell me. Anyway, on with the story. He watched me through the window for weeks. They say dogs have a sixth sense. I used to think that was just something people said to make their pets seem special. But one winter, in a sleepy, peaceful suburb, I learned that it might just be true, and it might be what saved my life. I had just moved into my new place, a cozy one-story house on a quiet street. I'd been through a tough breakup and wanted a fresh start. My only companion was Max, my German Shepherd. Loyal, smart, and deeply intuitive, Max was everything I needed at the time. The first week in the house was uneventful. I unpacked, met a few of the neighbors, and started to settle in. The nights were especially quiet, almost too quiet. There were no sirens, no distant traffic, not even the usual hum of city life. It was the kind of silence you'd expect in a horror movie, but I welcomed it. After years of chaos, the stillness felt like healing. Then, Max started growling. It began around the second week, always late at night, usually just after 2 in the morning. He would sit up from his bed, ears pricked, eyes focused on the front window, and let out this low, rumbling growl. It wasn't the kind of bark dogs make when they're excited. It was deep, primal, like he was warning something away. The first night, I assumed it was an animal outside, maybe a raccoon or a stray cat, but the growling didn't stop. Every night at the same time, Max would wake up, stand guard at the window, and growl at something I couldn't see. Then I started noticing small changes. The trash bin out front was tipped over, but nothing was taken. A garden gnome moved from one side of the path to the other. I shrugged it off. Maybe I bumped it, maybe wind. But Max never shrugged it off. I started waking up in a sweat, heart pounding, as if my body knew something my mind hadn't caught up to yet. Sometimes I thought I heard light footsteps outside. Once, I swore I saw a shape move past the edge of the window. Just a flicker, gone before I could be sure. About a week later, I installed motion sensor lights outside. Nothing fancy, just enough to light up the front and backyard if anything moved. That night, I went to bed feeling a little safer. Max curled up next to me like a warm, growling alarm. At 2:03 a.m., Max shot up, hackles raised. He was no longer growling, he was snarling. I grabbed my phone and walked slowly to the window. Nothing. The motion lights hadn't triggered. The next morning, I found something that made my blood run cold. Muddy handprints on the outside of the window. They were smudged, but definitely human. One was high up, like someone had leaned in to look, but the handprints were too big. Almost stretched, distorted. That day, I barely ate. Max wouldn't leave the window. That night, the air in the house felt heavier, the shadows longer. I kept the lights off and sat in the dark with Max. At 2:02 a.m., the motion light flickered. Not on, flickered. Then Max growled. I crept to the window again, slowly, and through the reflection of my own face in the glass. I saw another one, behind me, a second silhouette. But when I turned around, there was nothing. My heart was hammering in my chest. I called the police. When they arrived, they searched the property and found a man hiding under the back deck. A tall man wearing black. In his backpack, gloves, duct tape, a hunting knife, and a Polaroid of me, sleeping, from inside my house. They arrested him on the spot, They believe he had been watching me for days, maybe weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. The officer told me I was lucky, but I don't think it was luck. It was Max. I had cameras installed the next morning. Within a month, I sold the house and moved to a condo in a busier part of town. Somewhere with lights, noise, and people. Somewhere Max and I could sleep through the night. Max became a bit of a local hero. The vet gave him a tag that said, "Protector." And that's exactly what he was. The truth is, we often ignore the subtle signs. We explain away gut feelings, instincts, and strange coincidences. But sometimes, those whispers are warnings. And if you ignore them, you might not get a second chance. The end. Remember to always listen to the whispers, because they may be the warning.